didn't think he would die, I sent him a get well card, Federal Express to the hospital when he was laying there, in the coma.
Wow. Do you think your desire to not have to charge and not have to, right, came from coming from poverty and then wanting to be rich and then attaining the wealth that you wanted to attain, and kind of yo-yoing in the opposite direction, meaning that you thought you wanted this money thing, you got the money thing, you figured it didn't
make me happy.
Didn't make you happy, and then so you're like, well, I'm just gonna do it for free.
I think it came from a lot of things. I think it came from my AFAM studies. I studied an entire 500 years of oppression, where people that looked like me made money off of the backs of people of color. Like slaves. Like they weren't even given a choice to come to this country. They were fucking brought here in shackles. So I think a lot of it is that. I realized early on that I would never become wealthy in the music industry because I wasn't willing to do the one thing you almost have to do to become wealthy, and that was take a percentage of somebody's publishing. And I think that also comes from, that entire study, because I have no problem with anybody else in this room taking a percentage of ownership of somebody else's publishing, but I have a problem with me doing that, and people that look like me doing that, and I think that, along with the fact that I wanted to give back, like, rap has made me so happy, and the music has brought me immense pleasure. And I see Rap Coalition as my way of giving back to the artists who gave me so much happiness and so much pleasure. It's dope. More that than that's dope. And I'm sure my upbringing played a role in that.
Right. Now, did you and Tupac stay in contact after he got out of jail? Okay.
Yes. When he passed away, I was putting together the business plan for him to leave. Death Row.
Oh wow! So those weren't rumors, though. He was planning on leaving.
He was planning on leaving. I put together the marketing plan and the business plan for a company called Euthanasia.
Yeah, I remember him talking about Euthanasia, or there's an album that's supposed to be called Euthanasia or something like that.
I didn't know if there was going to be an album. I knew there was an album coming called One Love.
Yeah.
And that was going to bring together the East Coast and the West Coast.
Yeah.
And he had lined up like all these different people to appear on it. Like he wanted like Redman and Razkaz. So it would have East Coast and West Coast. And I believe some of it was even recorded. And I don't know this for fact. This is just like in talking to people that were supposed to be part of that.
Yeah.
I think he had recorded BDI, Black Moon. I think he had already recorded their vocals for it. So it was something that was definitely coming. It was absolutely in the business plan.
Now, would have his own label came out under Death Row? Because that's kind of no. So he was just gonna leave.
Yes. In his contract, he had agreed, and it was a handwritten contract.
I was gonna say, was that real, or did they go and get real paperwork afterwards, or was that
I don't know.
Real?
I never asked that. But even a handwritten contract is still a contract, right? So it's the words that are written, the signatures, and the delivery of whatever payment is promised in the contract that makes it a contract. And everything was kind of, everything was done by the book. So he had agreed to deliver 3 albums, and in his mind he had delivered 3 albums. So it wasn't so much he was leaving Death Row, like he didn't see it as being disloyal. He saw it like, that was my agreement, I delivered it, I'm out of my contract. Of course, the way contracts work, there's also a time factor. So you could deliver 3 albums, but if your agreement is to deliver 3 albums over a 3-year period, you can't just go, 18 months later. You've got, or however much time passed. You've got to wait for that 3-year period. And he did not know or accept that. So when he died, like my first thought was that Death Row had him killed, because we were actively shopping a deal. Actively shopping a deal for his label.
Wow. That's crazy.
I also didn't think he would die. because he had survived
the first time
so many times. Like he survived the quad beatdown, and the quad they weren't trying to kill him, they were just sending a message. They actually pistol whipped him, they didn't shoot him. He was hit by fragments because quad, as you walk in, it's a marble, the walls are marble, the floor is marble, everything's marble. So as guns went off, they ricocheted. When he pulled out, he had a Glock. There's no safety on a Glock, and he ended up shooting himself in the thigh. And he's never said that. That's just my speculation. When I asked him that, he laughed. He didn't tell me yay or nay. At time, it didn't matter. You know, it really doesn't matter.
That's hilarious that you even asked him that. Like, did you shoot yourself?
Like, motherfucker, and I'm a gun freak. Like, I've got 15 pistols, so. You know, and my least favorite gun is my Glock because it's got no safety, and I like to keep one in the chamber. So I don't carry my Glock. I'll carry my SIG. I'll carry my FN. I'll carry whatever. So I knew when I heard what happened that it's like somebody did not get close enough to you to shoot you in your thigh, you motherfucker. You were pulling out and it went off. It's just the nature of pistols. But anyway, so I had thought that maybe Death Row thought he was worth more dead than alive. I didn't think he would die. I sent him a get well card, Federal Express to the hospital when he was laying there, in the coma. It never crossed my mind that he would die. So when he died, and I got a call the night before that he was dead, then when everybody else was alerted, I guess, and I don't think he was dead and they didn't tell anybody for a day. I think the call came telling me they were going to take him off life support, but the call came telling me that he had passed away from somebody that was in the hospital. And I was devastated. And then even worse, I kept checking the news. Like, why isn't the news talking about him being dead? Oh my God, it's not true. Yay, he's still alive. Yeah. And then that next afternoon when the world said he was dead, it was like reliving that pain all over again. It was just crazy. I remember, because I was a kid, but I was a huge Tupac fan. So I remember going to Blockbuster Video when they sold CDs still. Wow. And buying the Tupac All Eyes on Me. One of the first CDs I purchased, I think I was 10 or 11. I don't know how they sold me the explicit version of the album. Because they didn't care.
Yeah, probably. And I remember buying it, and I remember them saying, "Oh, Tupac got shot," and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then they were like, somebody knew the radio was, "Oh yeah, Tupac got shot and he's killed." And I was like, "No, he's got shot before." No, he's dead. And I remember crying. I was devastated.
I got drunker than I've ever been drunk in my life to this day.
Did they say why they were pulling the plug when they called you and told you that?
No.
They just were like, yeah, he's gone.
Yeah. His mom, I learned after the fact that Afeni made that choice because she didn't want him to live on life support if he was going to pass anyway. And in hindsight, it was an excellent call. You think it was obviously it was an excellent call.
Okay.
If you talk to surgeons, any kind of doctor about do not resuscitate orders, they will explain to you how incredibly painful it is for somebody if you bring them back. And I learned this only because I had to face my mom's mortality. My mom passed away in 2014, and I was the person that was her everything. So I had to make that decision, and I did a lot of research. I'm a geek, I'm sorry, but I did a lot of research before having to have that conversation with her, do you want to be resuscitated or not? And all of the research that I read told me no. You don't want to be resuscitated, and I have a do not resuscitate for me. If I pass away, let me go. Don't fight it. If it's my time, it's my time. That doesn't mean if dying, don't give me medication that could keep me alive. It just means if I'm dead and I'm flatlining, do not bring me back. Wow. And I think with Pac, he flatlined a couple of times, and I think Afeni, made that decision. What a shitty decision to have to make, right?
And what a big change on the trajectory of where hip hop was, and how, because it was you know, then Biggie 6 months later.
Yeah.
And then it was different.
I gotta tell you, the whole Nipsey Hussle thing brought it all back for me because Nipsey was a very similar personality to Pac, and his mom sort of has an Afeni vibe as well, and it was just like the similarities were just like too close for me.
Yeah.
You know, not to mention the fact that I love Nipsey. He was just a great human being.
Yeah. Let's fast forward a little bit, because we could talk Tupac for
and let me just say I'm really wrong about him. Remember in the beginning of the story where I told you he was just a douchebag?
Yeah.
He was not.
Yeah.
And when I got to know him, I realized he's really an amazing human being.
Yeah.
And yes, he's loud, and yes, he's verbose.
Yeah.
But it was a character that was, I don't want to say he was playing a role. It wasn't. It was part of him.
Yeah.
And he had just had, like everybody, he had many facets.
Yeah,
and that was one of his facets.
And he was young.
And he was young.
He was young. Like 25 now.
And he was living life.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was a superstar, all that.
Yes.
So I think I think that entire thing is tragic, and it's still it still stings thinking about it.
It does.
And it probably obviously affects you. That was like a friend, you know, so it's totally different. I'm just a fan, a kid, you know.
It was very painful.
Yeah, on the West Coast, like he was our god. You know what I mean? Like it was like it was crazy, like the degree that we idolized him.
She say I'm a triple, honey, welcome to Trivago. Tell me who you know, who is you tripping for a follow? Ball in the air like Showtime at the Apollo. Puffing up your chest, the next thing you know is hollow. But well, hello, I've been swinging like some jello. If God wanted a fun guy, he gets some portobello. So I guess I need some grease up on my elbow. Yeah, but now my light turned yellow, and I've been looking for a cheat code. Life don't come in a neat bowl, bringing the receipt home. But we know that. Keep your head up and your seat pulled back. How do people see you that can burden a man? 22 years on a personal brand.